Oh, mid-range, yeah, you take threes, you take threes. Oh, mid-range jumpers were always a horrible shot. In fact, this is preamble, folks, because I'm typing out Twitter stuff. A friend of mine, Ty Willingham's, one of the greatest basketball mind analytics people out there, who quit because of the strike, which is a bummer, or the lockout. He used to call mid-range jumpers shit shots. I loved it. And yeah, this is like the pre-show. I just went live because normally I Must Drake you would start with music, and I'll do that in a second. But I had to go about 7 minutes late today, and then I get to listen to Jeff get upset that his team is winning in the NBA playoffs. You want to appreciate this, Jeff? Actually, this you and I are so the same. I fuck the guy, but took a former friend to a game, got like nice seats. And like while we were watching the game, our team kept making, there's the Nuggets kept making bad shots, and he was like cheering, and I looked at him, I was like, no. I was like, that's a bad shot. Like, don't cheer that. Yeah. Send for grading. Let's see if I can remember this, Jeff. It is youtube.com/@ Hey there, Jeffro, which is where you're hopefully at right now, even though we told you nothing, and that's on me. It's been a weekend, Jeff. I'm not. Let's see. Do I want to? We'll try it. Let's see if we do the real. We're gonna let Apple decide, Jeff, if we do real music or fake music. So I'm gonna try and play the theme song. And Apple's like, nah, nah. Why would it play the thing that it says it's on? Okay, did it go? There we go. We are playing music. Walker Morgan's here. You got to hear the pre-show, Walker. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Walker in the house. All right, so, and oh, I forgot. He is in the live chat. He said, I see a live chat. I see Walker Morgan saying, hello. So maybe anyway, but let's okay. El Celdo. Nice. El Celdo, I hope you appreciated this. Someone had a fun tweet. So we're going live with I Must Drake You for a reminder. We have the PSA deal, which is if you send cards in, I believe by the 30th, so hopefully I can get a package together tomorrow and they accept it. But it has to be, I'm saying submit. So like tomorrow I'll get the thing together. And then yeah, basically for those that have never done PSA grading, you get cards together, you basically fill out a thing online, you say, here are the cards that I am sending you, I'll pay you this much, you send them off, you pray that everything goes okay, they say it goes okay, they hold on to them for a few months, they send them back in slabs with numbers on them, and you feel great. And there is a deal going on, so I am looking to get Victor Wembanyama graded cards. So I've been breaking like a madman packs of NBA hoops, both winter and normal variants. And tonight's the last night, and I only have one more base Victor Wembanyama I have yet to get, Jeff. So last hope for it tonight. In the base set, I have two of the winter set, but none in the team. And I mean, poor me, I got like, a gold hollow, like a hologram arriving now. One you said that goes like 40 loose. So we're doing all right, but it's the thrill of the hunt. Jeff, we're going to do a last week on Lost. We actually promised this about last week's show. So for our good buddy Zach, who we will hopefully be sending a package of something to, I went to look for a Jason. Well, I'm sorry. When the hope was is some of the stuff to send. I was looking for a Jason Belmonte card in my Leaf set. Now the irony is, I have pulled an autographed Jason Belmonte. And here's the thing: as awesome as Zach is, I can't send that. Well. So for those that don't know, Patreon.com/Jeff May. Jeff May does pack breaks. Jeff, the other person here that is talking, he does pack breaks and sends them along. Like good, even the good. You send the good stuff. Like you will break like 90s Marvel cards with like holograms, and you'll usually save them up. Like you'll put them. You'll wait for a special month, but you will send those to your fans. Whereas I am a little pack rat, and I'm like, I got a Jason Belmo auto. I can't send that. I got to keep it. If I get like doubles or triples, and I do have some doubles or triples of stuff I can send Zach, that'll be awesome. But I got to keep the Belmo. So I was looking for a Belmo base though, because since I have the auto, we could send the base. I went through these PBA Leaf cards, and we had some questions because I was like not as prepared. This is a couple weeks in a row now that I'm not as prepared, but basically I like didn't have time to look stuff up. So I did want to do like some last week on Lost. We mentioned some people. So let's talk this guy, by the way, Jeff. I broke him last week. This is Chris Via. I hope I'm saying it right. It's an awesome auto. And here's the funny, like there were no bowling fans in the chat, Jeff. And here's why, because there are tons and tons of bowling fans, Jeff. Jeff being a hater out there. Anyway, oh, all right. Anyway, here's the thing. The comment I made when I broke this card is I said, I think this guy is bowled a 300, which, by the way, rare event to have a televised 300 in bowling game. It's happened fewer than 40 times, which is amazing. Most rare event, by the way, Jeff, televised 7-10 split has only happened 4 times. All right. This guy, though, was the first bowler to bowl 2 300 games in the same season. Now, here's the other funny thing. This is just sports in general. You're in a similar boat. You're talking about your pinball. I remember being like hot stuff, and yeah, like he won the U.S. Open in 2021, was doing great. Now he is still a great bowler. He's still a scratch bowler. He made almost 100,000 just in prize money last season, but has only won 3. Only, this is such a weird thing to be like. He's only won 3 titles in his career. Including a major, which makes him like one of the best of the best. But it is just so funny how sports change, or you remember someone, you're like, oh, they're going to dominate the field with how they did this season, and the next season comes up and they, play well, but just aren't the dominant force. But amazing. Oh, it's actually the we can't go too much in depth, but the most recent event that did happen, the Tournament of Champions, the guy that won it just went on an insane amount of luck. Not in a bad way, but just like his opponents kept like, yeah, like getting yips. One of his opponents was injured and threw things wide. This is the person I did want to come back to, though, Jeff. We promised. This is Jason Couch, and this is an example of a player that just, if you're a sports fan, just misses the era. When you look him up, you hate yourself. This guy's won 4 majors, 16 tournaments, and interestingly enough, had a career that was kind of cut short. In 2007, he was only. This is so weird. Bowling, they can go a little longer. Bowling, they can last into their 40s. They're not going to be dominant in their 40s, but they can still like compete in their 40s. At 35, he got an injury in 2007. So that was right about the time I was kind of interested. So that explains why I didn't know him. But Jason Couch, amazing bowler, got an auto of him. 16 tournaments for what's the word I was looking there for? Majors, which, just like tennis and golf, those are the big events. I forgot my gloves, Jeff, but with that, we'll get going. Reminder, if you are someone that wants to do PSA grading, if you have an account, they have a deal going on. I think it's $13 a card. With how your stuff's been going, Jeff, I'd be shocked if you've had time for that, but if you get time to send anything in, that'd be cool too. It's tomorrow. It's the 30th. Oh, fantastic, Jeff. Fantastic. Why would it capture? Why we can't hear Jeff? So the good news though, Jeff, is that I've just been talking to myself. I'm just gonna have to remember this for OBS. It's pretty easy. Go ahead and talk.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna keep talking right now. There we go.
This is the easy thing. It's the turn it on and off. You turn on OBS. It says, "Hey, you're plugged into Zoom. Hey, you're plugged into iTunes," and I can just say, "I don't believe you." Unplug them and plug them back in. Like I said, the good news is I was ranting over Jeff talking about bowling, so you did not miss out too much beyond me being like my Ernest impression. Like, can you hear me, Vern?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, there we go. All right.
So this is the very last NBA Hoops blaster box from the Meyer in Appleton, Wisconsin. I will shout out, Meyer is just an amazing store for everything, for groceries, for toys. They have a really nice card selection. So if you're a card collector and you want to like go someplace where you're grocery shopping, pick up a booster, a blaster, sorry. Meyer is a great place, but the one in Appleton, I'm going to tell you right now, is all out of NBA hoops. Is what it is.
Yeah, that will happen.
Yeah, some crazy guy just keeps
I went
buying.
I went to Burbank Sports Cards today, and because their sale table went out, and they had a good sale on Obi-Wan blasters, so I picked up
Ooh.
two, and I got them for I think like $12 a piece.
Wait, what? That's an absurd
Um,
deal. A blaster?
yeah, yeah, for blasters, so
Wow,
12
that's
bucks a
really
piece. So
good.
I picked up a couple of them for a future episode of I Must Break You. I also got some great stuff in the mail from some people that may or may not be in the chat. So we're gonna have a mailbag episode soon too.
True. And then that's awesome to have the mail. I've been loving the mailbag ones. We have plans and hopes, but like we're both hoping stuff gets a little lighter. But for the I Must Break You. But I'm just thrilled with the brand. I'm thrilled we're keeping it mostly regular. And I'm hoping we can have like non-travel weekends, non-marathon weekends. And by the way, Jeff, I'm going to put TCDB up on the chat. I have 290 out of 300 base. I've decided this is my last base. This is my last base booster, or my last base blaster. I have no problems buying, like, because the other cards are just silly ones. But I will say, yeah.
Yeah,
But I do really want to get the Wemby team card because if it's not, like,
yeah,
it's hard to be, if you see those loose, usually you'll kind of be guaranteed that the people, like, they'll know it's not
yeah.
going to grade well, or you have to pay
They're
for
no,
it to stick it.
yeah, yeah. Although people have been going bigger on buying raw, especially because PSA has been going a little bit weird with their surcharging and stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are just saying that, especially with the Wemby cards, that raws are selling as well as um, tens for like certain things, like the prisms and stuff.
The only,
Also, this Celtics Heat game is intense.
what's the
The
score?
last it's 95-78, but like there's a lot. They just had like a double technicals and like it was the whole thing.
Huh. I really hope
Yeah, no,
these cards didn't get beat up because this is interesting. This is in the middle of the pack, and if you look there, there's like a little scuff underneath Cameron Payne. That's not boding well. But
oh wow, did Panini have something great? Have something bad?
Jeff's had
Get out of
comments.
town.
The one thing I've said about this set is like I do really like the team cards. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this card, but for Victor Wembanyama, this is 296. I think Wemby is 290. It's
Does
the
that have
AI
like
one.
a divot in the line under the C and the A? Is that like a white divot under
Yeah,
that
it kind of looks
Cameron
like, yeah,
thing?
the Cameron. It kind of just looks like it got dinged up or
Damaged?
something. But it was in the like that's the thing
Yeah.
is, I've definitely seen when the pack or box itself maybe got hit or something. But it's always weird when it's in the middle and you're just like, how did that happen? Because that means it happened before it was packed up.
It's
Only thing
because Panini has quality control problems.
I've kind of noted this before. Only thing that I'm not a huge fan of on this set is it's not a bad thing. They have these shiny names which are nice, but if you're trying to stream, you kind of have to like do the back and forth like everyone's a
You have to do
parallel,
the angle, yeah.
but everyone is not a parallel, so you're kind of like
Oh yeah.
do you
Logan's
really
saying
need
that AI looks pretty sweet. That Sixers
I
AI.
do like the AI. And at some point ooh, nice. This is a cool one hopefully coming up and I'm hoping here's the thing, this isn't always a tell, but sometimes when you're opening a pack and a card is backwards, so I'm hoping this is a holo.
Yeah.
Because this is
Yeah,
arriving now.
usually.
This is a rookie card arrive, and I love this guy, Brandon Pajemski.
Oh, look at
I
that.
argue would have been. This is the nerd thing, Jeff, and no one's going to respect this. Yes, all right, boom,
Oh,
gold hollow,
nice,
Brandon
dude.
Pajemski. Sad part is this is very much. Give me one sec, Jeff. I'm just going to immediately sleeve this up.
Do it.
Do
Do
I
it.
have
Sleep it up, bro.
where are my sleeves? Um, but I was going to say this is one of those. If I'm like my rookies of the year are Trace Jackson Davis, Brandon Pajemski, and winner should be Amen Thompson. Like, what are you talking about? Now, I will give you Victor Wembanyama because rookie of the year is like most likely to succeed. That is gorgeous. Happy to get that. And then also, sorry to do this to you, Donovan Mitchell. I'm like Donovan Mitchell, who is the insert at the end of the pack. I'm like, yeah, you don't matter. You're not gold. That is awesome. That's a good. I'm already happy. Like I do, like I said, Wemby team card is what we're looking for. But in terms of like getting what would be called a hit, and I don't think that's even my official hit if there is a hit in here, because they have autos and stuff. Um, like that's just pretty good. Okay. All right. All right. So Jeff, how's the team doing? By the way, I was gonna say a funny thing. Good friend of mine, Arturo Galletti, years ago noted. Hey, I found this should be on like a milk carton, Jeff. He's missing because
Oh,
he's
there you
not
go.
playing Giannis. Yeah,
Giannis
if you
is
don't get Giannis in the playoffs, you're not going to win. Bucks. The Bucks are not Giannis and not much else. But my friend Arturo Galletti noted that teams basically were screwing up because they were kind of giving up when the game had margins of 10. Like you could see this in the stats. Jaime
yeah.
Jaquez Jr., he is awesome. They're not winning nothing though because Jimmy Butler's injured. This is an injured playoffs. But he
Yeah.
noticed that.
It's also a 20 point game or 18 point game.
But
So
here's the thing, Jeff. Did you watch the Clippers? Did you watch the Clippers Spurs game? Not Clippers Spurs. Sorry, thinking
were
of the wrong
they
thing. Did you watch the Clippers Mavericks game last night?
were they almost lost a 31 point lead?
31-point deficit. And this is where I'm
Oh,
shouting out my buddy Arturo Galletti, who noticed that in the numbers. Oh, very nice. Years ago, where he's just like, hey man, with threes, games are closer than people think. Don't give up on games. This isn't. I've gotten some good, like not the Wemby's I'm looking for,
nice.
but Carl Anthony Towns blue. That's a blue one. That's a pretty card. And an Usser Thompson. He's the other really good rookie. Him and his brother, both freaking awesome. They are actually on the pack of the card. So there
Oh,
we
that
go.
rips, man.
But yeah, so all I was gonna say is just actually your Brad Stevens with the Celtics was one of the first teams that really started going like we're down by 15 in the fourth, game's not over. And in fact, that was in the numbers. Like the Celtics just would not give up on games that were quote unquote lost. And that's become more the norm.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're like on the one hand, it would be easy to mock you to be like the Celtics are the better team. They're up by 17. It's the fourth. What are you worried about? Hey, that's just 5 threes. And that's
Dude,
anybody
no,
can do that.
dude, there are no there's no such thing as a blowout in the playoffs because you have to make sure that you win the game until the whistle is blown. Like I don't believe even if you're up by 40, I still don't consider it a blowout because it's the goddamn playoffs. And too much can happen in the playoffs.
Yeah. More of this. I mean, if I was, if I just asked wrong, I asked for Wemby. I'm getting an Usser Thompson. I hope I'm getting his name. I mispronounce it all the time. Hope he's okay. Did he get injured in the game? I saw that Kristaps Porzingis, um, like
I don't know.
might have gotten injured in the game. So I hope he's okay. It's
Been
funny
running
because I
around.
think he's over.
I went on a
I think he's
run.
overrated, but he's what the Celtics needed, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean saying overrated, like how old is he?
No, I mean he's never gonna be worth the contract or the accolades he's gotten. But the thing about any team is like if you're close to a title and you just need an average player and you have the salary cap to spend, go for it. Joel Embiid, another
I
injured
love
guy.
when you're like I love watching you like wave the cards in front just so the light can catch them a little bit. It's very
Yes,
funny.
it's fun. All
All right.
right, come
Yeah,
on.
I saw you worked a lot of hard with our friend James Harden.
Yep. Yes. Okay, exploding ruins. If you've got, I'm gonna try and move this over. So the thing is, at some point maybe I'll do what Jeff does and like get my phone in front of me so that it's easier for me to read the chat. But exploding ruins, and I'm missaying it again, aren't I, Jeff? Exploding ruins is saying that there are
Runes. Yep.
professional bowlers in her orbit, which is awesome, and I am very curious about it. Okay.
Oh, there it is. See, it's funny too because whenever I look at like the things I love, like professional pinballers and stuff, I'm always impressed by their talent, but I'm also like, what a nerd.
Like I'm telling
Like,
you, man,
like I
one of the top juniors. I mean, maybe she's not a junior anymore because I looked it up when it was. I'm forgetting his name, but Nudge Magazine was on Jeff Has Cool Friends. But she is
oh yeah,
named the
Ian
assassin.
Jacoby, yeah.
Yeah, she is named the assassin, and she is out in Appleton, Wisconsin. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I love and respect the talent, but I do love when everyone's like when they geek out. I'm like, it's pinball. Calm down.
Trey Young,
So the
baby.
good news is this game is over. Well, we have 30 seconds left, but
Yeah. Wait. Did you check? Did you make sure that Reggie Miller and Tracy McGrady aren't on the court? Because you got to be careful.
Roger, I mean, it's 14. It's actually, yeah, it's yeah, 14 points. It's not catchable. There's not enough time left.
Famous last words. Right. Let's see my rookie Cam Whitmore for that. These are cool. Like
Oh, that's
I
cool.
would
All
love to get
the
one of these
greens.
for Wemby when I'm talking about that. And then a blue insert for this is interesting. It's a rookie, so hopefully it could be good because the Nuggets are good at drafting. Almost impossible to read. Jalen Pickett, which is like a perfect name for the Nuggets because almost like a pickaxe. Give it to
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
picking nuggets. Yeah,
All right. Yeah. Logan Trent bringing up that James Harden was in the Leaf set, which is my favorite.
yeah. We pulled that of 8
Yeah.
auto.
That's just awesome. And at some point, yeah, we'll get that graded.
Yeah, Logan saying the comic professional trading cards were peak nerd, and I have them all in a binder, dude.
Oh, you got to have the binders. But Jeff, did you do it right? Got your boy Tatum. Oh man,
There he
I
is.
saw the Spurs and was excited, but Devontae Graham. Okay. And what I also hate here, it's just like the exact opposite, is Spurs kind of look like the Nets. And so this is a former first round rookie of the year pick, Ben Simmons, but no Wemby. Drew Holiday helping out. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, amazing trade by your. I cannot believe your Celtics fleeced, managed to beat the Bucks out in conference team. All
I
right.
mean, the Celtics are pretty good.
The Celtics are good on all fronts. I really like them a lot. And it was I
Yeah, they're
okay, Jeff. This is interesting. So, strictly speaking,
what is,
buzzer beater. One, I really
oh,
love this.
okay. Look at this.
This is a purple Amen Thompson. Like I said, I argue
Oh, that's a
advanced
good one.
stance rookie of the year, but did manage to pull the Wemby. Not the team card and not the
Oh,
hollow.
okay.
We got this one hollow, the hologram of this card. So this is the base. So
Well, you better sleeve that one up.
yeah.
Yeah,
When looking for a if you're looking for a Wemby
that's a
rookie,
good dude. That's a
last
good pack you just pulled.
and yeah, I got the hollow Brandon Pajemski, which I'm a fan of. So yeah, I'm gonna have to either. I mean, I might either. It's gonna be funny, Jeff, because this is like how they get you, right? If a team card. Oh, I'm stupid, Jeff. Sorry, I lied to you. If a team card, Victor Wembanyama, costs like 20 plus shipping, then
Look,
I might as well just get another blaster, right?
no, no. Logan said Ben Simmons is wearing the '80s throwback Nets jerseys because that's the last time he played.
Now I'm gonna be mean to Logan in the chat.
Hey.
The player. I actually had one more pack, Jeff. So this is very Charlie on the Chocolate Factory. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The player, the signal in my brain that kind of let me model Ben Simmons was Derrick Rose. Because
That tracks.
for years and years, we were like, if Derrick Rose gets back healthy, oh my God, the Bulls are going to compete. And it happened 3 times, and I was just like, listen, no. And so yeah, this I actually have a tweet. Start of the season, Ben Simmons like, I want to get back to. We've gotten a couple of these, not super centered, but can't be mad at Vince Carter team card Raptors. But yeah,
Yeah, we
like
love that Vince Carter card.
love him. It's over. More Grady Dick, ha ha ha. But yeah, like Ben Simmons, he's like, I'm gonna get back to All Star this season, and I was like, sure you are, Ben. Sure you are, Ben.
Sure, sure, Ben. Sure.
And I feel bad a little because here's the thing: there are players like actually your boy Isaiah Thomas with the Boston Celtics that get injured at the wrong time. Isaiah Thomas was like on a
Yeah.
decent contract. He got injured right before a contract year and then just could not get. He like basically probably lost $100 million because of an injury in the playoffs. Whereas Ben Simmons managed to get the max contract extension. So,
Yes.
he's
I also lost $100 million by not being 7 feet tall.
it is if you are 7 feet tall and in the correct age demographic, if you walk by someone 7 feet tall in the United States, they're on the right age demographic. This is not a bad card, although I just hope he can stay healthy. Colored blue, Zion Williams, and I got 2 Skyview Donovan Mitchell. So If you want a Donovan Mitchell. All right, now this is one of those where I actually bought like one extra of these and didn't realize, and like you can't return them. So, oh
Oh,
no. So I got winter too. So this will, like I said, this will kind of be the end. And then to El Celda way back in the chat early on, Jeff, I was going to say I saw a really funny Toronto Maple Leafs. So you'll notice the difference. These have winter variants. But they were like, are the Maple Leafs fun to watch? No. Well, do we have hope for the future? Also no. Well, do they have like a good set of players that are fun to root for? No, but see, I mean the Leafs, man, as a hockey team. Although the Avalanche and the Nuggets are both doing well in the playoffs, Jeff. I don't know what to do with that. This guy's so hit
well,
or
I
miss.
mean,
Tyler Hero. I
that's
love him.
I have the Bruins and the Celtics right now, so
All right. I'm getting lots of good team cards. Got like Vince Carter. Got Shaq there. Loving the Thompson twins as rookies. Draymond Green gonna make Steph Curry cry. I almost thought that was another. It was like the same pose, so I thought this was another Donovan Mitchell. I was like, how many Donovan Mitchells am I gonna get? And arriving now, Case and Wallace, the Thunder, man, they're looking good. So Jeff, you don't have to tease nothing. Um,
okay.
but you got it. Jeff has cool friends for people that are correct and actually subscribe like they're supposed to coming out tomorrow, and I am excited
We
about
do.
it.
We have a really good one that is sort of like it's one of those ones where like how we talk about sometimes like when we had Ken Knapsack on, he was talking about John Jabs from The Past Is Alive, and it was like, well, it's funny how the net is so connected, like the web is so connected to people. This might be the most egregious example of, oh my God, I can't believe you know that person too. I can't believe this person knows you too. And like to the point where it became like funny at this point in time. Like it's very funny.
Oh, I can't be mad at that.
Um,
By the way, take a drink.
and
Apparently, Walker Morgan noticed every time I say can't be mad at that, take a drink. But LeBron James Dynamo's insert. Okay, so Jeff, so this one got egregious and funny. What else can you say about it?
it's very fun. It's very cool. It's the story is like kind of not at all what I was expecting, but it's just such a blast, so much fun. The guests themselves is really just a cool, fun, and talented guy who happens to be doing some really, really cool stuff. And I'm very excited to share it. Patreon.com/Jeff May for early access to uncensored episodes with the bonus content, and I would suggest it. Um, and I just managed to find them at the right place at the right time. They actually sent me a gift
Oh,
that's actually connected to a previous guest of the show.
I'll be right back. By the way,
Weirdly,
Jeff,
like,
I got it. I don't know if this guy will be anything. Colby Jones Kings, but we talk about this. This is an insert.
oh, look
The
at
the
you.
winter packs have a lot of these. They actually do have like just a lot of them. And as we've noticed, if you read on the back, it's going to say we can't verify this is anything. So this does look like a
So,
jersey,
uh, so
but I'll
I
say
actually saw something really funny about those,
But I'll say if you just
which
look at this
is,
one though, Jeff. Sorry for a sec. I'll finish and let you talk.
yep,
But like this is actually in pretty good shape because I got one with Brandon Miller, which is like what you'd want because he finished top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. But because it's so hard because this is a thick card at the end of the pack, it is so easy to get dinged. And the Brandon Miller one already has a ding in this. This one is in really good shape already. That's cool. All right.
yeah.
So what's the funny
So
thing you have?
somebody had a George Kittle for the 49ers one, and he like just randomly on a whim because it wasn't really worth anything, decided to like tear it up and look at it, and on the back it was the name of a different player, and it was
Oh,
like a player that hadn't played for the 49ers in quite some time. And they were just like, yeah, that's how they get away with saying, cannot. It's player worn, but they don't say what
so
player. They
so
don't say
Jeff,
like what game.
we
Yeah.
got some ideas. Your buddy Ken Knapsack with ASMR. We could compete with that. I got a
Mm-hmm.
decent number of relics, man. That I can tell you ahead of time.
You don't want to.
If they're,
We don't want to test that.
why not? Just start breaking relics. You got I must break you, I must tear you. Branch out, right?
Yeah,
Josh Hart, I love
exactly.
this. I love this. My favorite line about this guy is Josh Hart says he hates analytics, and he is really good by the numbers. So I always respond, I'm like, but the analytics love you, Josh. He is a really good
Yeah,
player.
but you know,
But
there are intangibles, Dre.
mm, I feel
I'll never be able to convince
it's
you that
not that you can't
your
convince
life's
me.
passion
I think
is invalid, but
it's so far from
you
invalid, though.
do
I
have
mean,
to,
like the thing
no,
is, and
you rest a lot of, go ahead.
here's what's funny. You're the Celtics. Here's one thing I know. Oh, Kevin Durant, poor guy. Um, but
He Kevin Durant sprained his ankle on that card just now.
oh, poor guy. No, but a team I have a
He's
lot of
actually
respect
not
for is
poor.
the
He's very
Celtics
rich.
and the Giannis. I got the team. Love these. These are beautiful. Giannis team card. Um, but Mike Zarin is the assistant GM of the Boston Celtics. And back in the day when I would go to like conferences and stuff for advanced stats, the other GMs and stuff, I'd be like, want a picture, want a photo? They'd be like, yeah, like Daryl Morey's an example of this, where he's like, yeah, I'm an analytics guy, get a picture. And like Zarin is like, I don't want to talk to you, I'm just looking for someone that knows SQL. So like the Celtics know what's up. I'll say that. No, I agree on the intangibles, but the thing is, the thing about sports that is awesome, and basketball kind of wins this one, Jeff, is there
No.
are so few areas where the rules are defined. Like you're a content creator and it's just not fair. Yesterday, a video on X-Men 97, why X new character, I don't think you're caught up, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but why X character
No.
is secretly blah, and that might go viral and get a million views, right? And then you make that exact same video today or a similar one today and everybody's moved on. Whereas sports is where the rules are written down and are tracked. And in basketball, they're some of the among the most consistent. So that is the thing, and that it's almost sad in that regard, D'Angelo Russell, that people that run teams don't really do it well. And the Celtics are one of the few. Like the Celtics, if you look at the Celtics success rate compared to other teams in the West or East, they just run laps, right? Like it's really hard to win a finals. It's just really hard to make it. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't. That's their edge, is that people view that as success. So like, well, the Warriors made it, 4 titles, and it's like, well, true, but look at how the Warriors, if Steph Curry sprains an ankle or Kevin Durant leaves, they fall apart. Whereas the Celtics have just kept going. So, and I argue the Celtics do know what is up. All right, last pack for the night. Oh, and it's not that the intangibles don't matter. I think people just it's the funny thing, Jeff. I think people put too much emphasis on the wrong things and here's my funny counter to you, Jeff. They call the wrong things intangibles that are not. And they really just mean points per game. Scotty Barnes. Paul George, he's been playing well, he's been hit or miss.
Yeah, he's had an interesting, like the best way that I can describe how I play pinball is like Paul George, where it's just like he could be any player at any given day. Like someday just have like an absolute record breaking day, and then the next time be the most mid player you can imagine.
Let me ask you a question. While playing for the
Yeah.
Pinball Olympics, did you suffer a major injury that you have been battling with your whole career? Because that
So
is really the secret of.
I've never been to the Pinball Olympics there in Chicago. I've always wanted to go. It seems really fun. I know you were doing a joke because you thought there were no such thing as the Pinball Olympics,
Well, I'd assume there'd be a
but
top level pinball thing, but
but
anyway.
there's like a weird one where like you have to like there's this one and it's basically like pinball but in various different ways of like playing upside down or you have to play like while your head is in a snorkel in a fish tank or something like this guy sets up a really cool setup for the pinball Olympics. It's pretty rad.
Huh. But no, like I mean, what's funny about a lot of players, I would actually throw Isaiah Thomas in this realm as well, Jeff, is you can just explain them by having nagging injuries their career that we just cannot know about. Um, and it's always just really amusing. So like Paul George, for what it's worth, when he was young, looked fantastic, and just he clearly got injured at some point, and kind of like it's so rough to watch players like this. I brought up Derrick Rose earlier in the show, but you watch them kind of recover, and you're like, oh, are they back? and they get injured again, and you're like, oh, are they back? And then so, yeah, Paul George, he has an amazing ceiling. Could have been a star. Pinball yeah, and El Celdo is saying Pinball Olympics. Oh, and that is a good point from Logan. I'm reading a chat. Logan says, someone said Paul George works as a number 1 or a 3, but never a 2. I would agree with that. That's a good one. All right, Jeff, here's what I was excited about maybe trying out. We'll see. But I managed to get I got the camera, I got the angle high enough to actually see it. This is the thing, and this is actually my process that you can actually trust, unlike other people's process. Lame inside joke. But yeah, this is kind of like at the end, if I'm actually on the ball and want to get stuff done and keep everything organized, what I do, I go buckets of 20, organize them out, and then resort them at the end. But Jeff, we got to, yeah, it is actually, like I said, we've said this in the chat. This is a common thing. Like, it is oddly therapeutic. Yeah. But we have an amazing guest coming for Jeff Has Cool Friends tomorrow. Subscribe to the Patreon if you're not. Like, why wouldn't you be? Nice. Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that, Jeff. Just to steal some time while I'm still organizing. We talked a little bit about it, but oh, fantastic, Jeff. Fantastic. Yeah, you are on mute again. All right.
Love the tech.
Love the tech. This has been a week for now. Here's I'm gonna throw a little shade, Jeff, because I'm snarky. That's
Wait,
what I
are
do.
they both? I think people are saying
No,
we're
I
both
can
on
see.
mute.
We're not both on mute. We are both talking. I can see the levels. Are they both on
Um,
mute? This is great, honestly. Thanks, Jeff. Um, tech mistakes happen in podcasting, in streaming. It's the world. But I'm not. Hopefully, when it does happen, I'm not going to be like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not. Yeah, it's like try and fix it. Don't spend the time saying clearly it's not working. No, some of the stuff I love and hate, and yeah, it's the jiggling wires right before. Jeff has mute friends. I like it.
yep, we got me muted.
All
So we're
right.
still working on that. Man of the Chair has a lot of working pieces between multiple angles and OBS and a Zoom call coming in. So
But I will say you kind of threw the out potentially. We got a decent audience still here listening, but you know, tell me if I'm wrong, Jeff. I'm okay if I'm wrong with this, but like
you're
kind of
wrong.
viewing like the first try as sorry, El Celdo tripped me trying to like explain things where he said just the sound of Dre was sort of nice actually. Because I'm
Yeah, he
just
wasn't.
it
Dre
actually
wasn't
is
talking.
it's
Yeah.
ASMR, right? I'm just like talking and sorting cards, and it's not a back and forth
Well,
thing.
El Celdo, when I was talking because Dre was listening and not talking, so that's why it just sounded like he was just sorting them out. What I was saying is that not only do we have an amazing Jeff Has Cool Friends dropping tomorrow morning on the Patreon, and then next week for free everywhere else, but also I have a very special UGG find because May is starting. So Kim Crawl and I, respectively, on our Patreons, have this co-exclusive. I'll give you a hint. The fight is very fun, and we both almost quit the podcast, which was neat.
Huh.
Then I must break you on Wednesday. I've got some other stuff I'm going to be recording.
Did you already
Uh,
spoil one, or are you saving those for later? The Obi-Wans.
I'm going to save the Obi-Wans.
Ooh,
Yeah, like I'm
nice.
going to save those at some point in time. I'm not sure what I'm going to open on Wednesday. There's a couple of things that I could just kind of break open and see, but I mean, I have a lot of cool stuff. I have the Obi-Wans. Walker sent me some really good stuff too that I could open. Some unique blasters that I haven't done before. So we can totally do that. I also have a 2021 Allen and Ginter box. I have those Pro Set Rock cards. Um, I'm not going to open those Advanced Dungeons and Dragons cards again.
Like, I think we as a group might just collectively agree that never happened. Like,
Those cards were. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm behind. We kind of talked about this, like cool stuff. Like my weekends have been busy with like travel and family stuff. So I like to go through the old episodes and put timestamps of like, hey, you might like here's where Jeff opens this pack of cards, or I'll put a link to TCDB or Cardboard Connection. So for nerds like me that like looking up the what the rarity etc. are can see that. And for the Dungeons and Dragons one, I might just, as combo joke and reality, just like not mention them at all in the comments. Like, no timestamps, nothing.
I
Someone's like,
mean, at least it was funny looking at those terrible cards. Like that is really funny. And it's funny because Exploding Rune said that Adam and I should just do a video with Kim where we just tell her wild stuff and see what she believes. Yeah, I mean, that just seems like bullying at that point in time because she does have this lovely trust in us, and that seems just mean. That's like to just really go through there. It's not like when we convinced Tom that Brian Adams killed his wife before we recorded the Tom and Jeff watch Batman about Batman Forever, which was
statistically,
also
I
fun.
had a interesting gap. I only got 119 in the 1 to 120 range, Jeff. Huh. Could start doing
Huh.
some P stats analysis on card distribution.
Yeah.
It's what the people
Well,
want.
that's like I thought you'd be really stoked at my pinball
I what I
score
here's
last week
you were
because
a jerk because you released that on Instagram like right in this range where yeah my wife she speed walked
my
a
wife.
half marathon. Yep, fan, I don't know what that is. She speed walked a half marathon and I was like watching the kid, and so it was one of those where just like my brain wasn't there and I wasn't even here and I saw it. I was like, that is really interesting. I should text Jeff about that, and it was lost to the ether forever until now.
So
Now it's
so
back.
basically, I could do a quick explanation if you guys want to know like how the pinball league works. Because basically, like every week you go in groups of four. So it's you and three other players, and you play each other on 6 games over the course of the night. And like no, however you do, and it's usually like ranked. So like you're playing people around where you are as well. And placement in every game. So if you get either first, second, third, or fourth, right? First place you get 7 points, then five, then three, then one, right? And then so you get a possible 42 points every night. Like that's the max points you can get if you get first place among the entire in your entire grouping. So if there aren't enough players to make all 4 player groups, they have to break it down into 3 player groups. And then it becomes 7, 4, and 1 points. Right. So
Huh.
so instead of 7, 5, 3, 1, it's 7, 4, and 1 because they have to make it so that the point differential is legal and fair. Now that's the only way it's possible for you to get the 21 points, like is to have a 3 player groups. And you have to get like it's something like 2 firsts, a second, and then all thirds. It's the only way to access that specific point total. And I did it. So I was like just perfectly mid in the most improbable way I possibly could be.
That is, that is, I am such a nerd on that thing. Okay, this is interesting, Jeff. I don't get to count this. I was looking for a number 19 Carl Anthony Towns. I'm not going to dare switch to the TCDB thing because I want to hear your voice, and the listeners do too. Of the 10
Yeah,
cards I
and
was
you will.
listening, I was looking for a Carl Anthony Towns. I got the Carl Anthony Towns, but not base,
You got
Jeff.
it.
I got him blue.
Oh
So
no.
no, oh no, I'm gonna have to
Oh no, it doesn't
go
count.
spend 20
Trade it.
cents.
Yeah,
Night's
right.
over.
Yeah, just
Night's over. Um,
yeah. There are people. I can guarantee you, there are eBay stores that have just pick your
oh,
number
well,
and
if you see,
go for it.
I'm gonna risk this just for a second. So if you can't hear Jeff, um, yeah, I'll just talk for a sec. So if you
Why
don't
don't
hear,
you? Why
oh,
don't you
Jeff,
just
okay, you're
make
on you're
sure
on
they?
this one. Fantastic. You weren't on the one that mattered, but you were on this stupid screen. Thanks, OBS. But you'll see that TCDB has like listed 20 cents as the value of a bunch of these, and um, all that means is that there is just some eBay store that sells like any base for 20
Yeah.
cents and it's just marking them all as that because it's like I'm not going to find anybody that will give me 20 cents that is worth my while, right? Like cuz I'd have to ship it and I'd be paying myself, not to be mean, kind of like some of what you've said you do with the Jeff has cool friends, the you get the rookie card tier, like your time is involved in that. So like people are getting a great deal because they might be spending you know however much. What's the lowest level? Is it at 35?
Oh yeah. So 35 for the rookie card tier, and that establishes itself. That includes shipping if you are American. And if you are in Canada, it has to go up by about $20
Yeah.
for the shipping. Because boy, do they crank you out on shipping trying to get these packages to Canada.
Yeah. Um, we'll say this, Jeff. I was missing 10 base cards in this nice thick stack. Zero. All right. So those
Oh,
are the no, but I
yeah.
mean that's
Now it's time to buy singles.
yeah. At this point, yeah, probably find the Victor Wemby at some point. Might see if just the card shop. I think my local has it, and I think he has like his
I'm
kid.
gonna guess.
I think he probably has it for like 15, and I think I just put him out quick because it's the same thing. It's like quicker turnaround to just that I can probably trust a little better if that makes sense. Like an eBay store, you might run the risk that they like are putting out ones they didn't want to grade, whereas like the local card shop, it's like I think he seems a little more reliable. So I might just go see if I can pick one up tomorrow.
Yeah, I also feel like the Wemby team card is the cheapest Wemby card out there, right? Because it's not like the Wemby specific card. It's like a checklist card. Like those tend to be less valuable.
NBA hoops. It's probably like let's see, team card. I'm just doing a search and then we'll thanks for sticking a little long, Jeff. This was fun. How do I not? Is it like 290? Let me see if I can find the number. It's 298. Okay.
Runes is asking for, do they just do sports cards? I mean, I usually just go to price charting. You can check it out. Go to TCDB when you get a chance to see if that works for you.
Yeah, it and TCDB like they do like eBay and stuff, and so that's where it can get funny. Okay, I can get a gem mint. You love how I say that, right, Jeff? 9. I know. I can get
That's not a
a.
gem mint.
It's just put the gem mint in front of it. It's like whole wheat or
No,
whatever.
no. That is false advertising. You will get sued
Yeah.
by me for doing
That'd be the lamest like podcast co-host embroiled in a lawsuit. It'd be the biggest thing since CM Punk and Colt Cabana over Gem Mint
that.
10.
Yeah, I'll be the next nerd.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can get one like it looks like you can get one loose 9 or 10 bucks, and like I said, I'm willing to bet they have one at the local card shop. So I'm actually gonna see that. I think they have like a loose box over at my local card shop of like hoops, so of just various basketball cards. So I may just go in with a list and see if I can grab the rest there. Jeff has cool friends
Yeah.
on Tuesday. Listen early. I must break you. Cool stuff coming on Wednesday. Oh geez, this is an interesting month. Thursday with Kim Crawl. You didn't do you don't even
Wait,
like this
Thursday with
show
Kim Crawl.
Monday. So I was looking to
So
see.
Wednesday will be Kim Crawl.
So it's Wednesday. Oh, it's a Wednesday. Oh, it's not 31 days, is it? Look who doesn't know
Yeah,
stuff.
30 day, April, June. Yeah. So it'll be Wednesday will be Kim plus I Must Break You. Adam and I just had our big league. You don't even like sports cards
That was a lot
break
of
coming
fun.
in.
And again, sorry you
Yeah,
like
that's
did
a
it right near the weekend to where like I meant to like wax effusive on Saturday. And I don't know where Saturday went, Jeff, but that was a lot of fun. That was a nice set. You chose well. Um, I'm gonna throw a really lame
Yeah, those were
story.
sponsored by you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dre, for that because those were really beautiful cards.
I'm gonna throw the lamest story ever to counter that with. My grandma was visiting once, and trying to be a good grandson, I complimented her necklace and said, "Where did you get it?" Jeff, I'm gonna sell something out. Turns out when you're a kid, your parents sometimes buy gifts and say "from you." So my grandma looks at me and she goes,
There
"You
it
bought
is.
it for me." And I was like, "Nice."
Whoopsie.
Good times. So same thing. You're like. I was like, it was easier. I was like, thanks Adam for being on the Nerd Show. The GI Joe show was so much fun, Jeff. The fact that you
Yeah, that was
incepted
the
him
best.
into buying, it's so funny because when I was listening during the edit, Adam's like talking, it's great, a lot of back and forth, and sometimes you feel self-conscious as a host if like you're talking too much over the guest. Unless it's I must Drake you, then I just talk over you and mute you, and I don't care, Jeff, because I'm mean that way. There's this period of time where like Adam stops talking. I'm like, did we leave him out? Were we being rude? And then like Adam pops up and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I was looking up gold-plated head Destro and I bought one. And I was like, ah, okay. Like you can literally track it. If there is a moment, if you haven't listened to that show, there's a moment where Adam gets a little quiet and he tells you why. And I already spoiled it, but it was great. That was like the
Yeah,
perfect pop to that moment.
he went on eBay and bought a Destro,
You're like, we haven't seen Adam for a bit. Whereas he came back and he's like, I
and
didn't.
he showed up
He
ready
even
to
said it
play.
just
Yeah,
perfectly, right? Because he was like, I stopped buying, and you're like, he's like, but I didn't know they did a gold plated one. But Jeff told him. Jeff told him.
I did. I let him know and it's funny too because he got the re-release one, the anniversary version of it, whereas I remember the one that came with the floating, the one where he was a bit stockier in the head. It was like kind of a fatter head, and I remember that being like a big deal.
Very nice. Well, you have stayed late with me, Jeff. I appreciate it. This month is, I mean, we'll probably hear
Yeah.
all about it on Ugg Fine with Kim coming out in 2 days. I'm looking forward to that. Wednesday's a fun-filled Jeff day. I think you've actually been enjoying the Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, right? Because this is the second half of War World, correct?
We're doing, yeah. So on Wednesday, also, yeah, War World drops. So we're doing Justice League War World. Last week we covered the first two sections, and then this week we're covering the second two sections. Um, we're we're still debating on whether or not we're going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths, part one, or if we're going to wait until all of the parts have been released before we do that. Like we don't know yet. So we're going to figure that
But still,
out.
I'm glad that it
But
seems like you're having an enjoyable week of content as opposed to whatever. I don't know what was the last. It's already leaving my head. The last.
Justice League X Ruby was just the worst time of my
So
very
I'm
long
so
time.
sorry. Let me ask you a question though, Jeff, because I'm trying to give myself some redemption, but I think I'll still lose. Rombi or whatever it's called, or Double Dragon, which is worse.
Um, Double Dragon is still worse.
Yeah, I know.
Although I did have on the background before we were filming Walker saying Tom and Jeff watch. That means the only reason you pay your $5 for the Gamefully Unemployed Patreon, dude. Walker, you should listen to Fox Mulder is a Maniac as well. It is a wonderful, absolutely hilarious podcast. Tom and Dave work so well together. It's definitely worth your
Although
time.
I'll say this,
It
unlike X Files for real, it's kind of odd. There's this period of time where there's this special guest that pops up. There's this doggett, like you could use that term that pops up, and I argue he works, at least 90% as well, because I don't want to offend the two hosts because they're so awesome. But yeah, the doggett episodes of Tom and Jeff watch X Files is a Maniac Mulder. I got
Tom
nothing.
and Dave watch together. You
Tom,
know, so like it's funny about that because with like Tom and Jeff watch Batman, like Tom and Dave work very well in this very structured sectional version of their show. And if you ever listen to earlier episodes, like before, I think even Fox Mulder as a Maniac was a thing, we were trying that and it didn't work for Batman the way it works for like it just works for their podcast better than ours. But we've got a good, I think we have a really good thing here. And one of the things I love about working with Tom is I'm very good at like rolling with an inside joke and pushing a joke to a certain level. And Tom is also very good at that. and so we work really well off of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we work really well off of each other in that regard.
I've done it's like the comparison of like, yeah, passing the ball back really fast, keeping the basketball analogies right because I love them. Yeah, you two are just amazing. It's just like the like no look passes back and forth, and it almost gets ridiculous. And you know me, yeah. Usually when I listen to that show, I'll like stop and pause and just be, yeah, like Green Grenade is one of the most recent I can think of where I was just like, this is great, this is great.
Yeah, that we like. There's a lot like the two because my two co-hosts between with I mean I have other co-hosts, but I've been working with Tom since 2018 every week, and I've been working with Adam Todd Brown since 2013,
Good God.
2014, 2013. I don't know. But we've been working together for 10 years, minus a little hiccup in the middle. Um, and like we just really know how to roll off of each other very well. Um, yeah, so yeah, Logan's saying like it feels like we're having a lot more fun without the format. It is. It's a lot more fun, and I always tell people when they ask us where to go, um, I always tell them like the first anniversary is a good spot. Like we're still, I think the earlier episodes before that are still good. But that first, I tell people not to listen to the first four episodes, just to just not do it. Don't bother. But yeah, like Save Papa Alfred is a great bit that came out of nowhere. And here's the funny part, and why what I don't think people, because you guys are listening and you're like, I like this, I like that. I always think there's no way we're going to be able to come up with another really great inside bit. Like honestly, like I'm
Really?
like, we're tapped. We're tapped. I was like, we're tapped. There's no way. I felt that way. Honestly, I think Justice League Unlimited broke me a little bit with how many like look, I re-listen to episodes. I listen to every episode to see how it turns out. And there's episodes of the Justice League Unlimited thing where even though I had recorded it the day before, I'm laughing. Like there was a lot like the John, being a Green Lantern being a torture hound, being a torture freak, Martian Manhunter getting blitzed out every single time, Clark being a big dumb baby. Like there were just these, like eating all these
Yeah,
vaccines and stuff.
the
Those are
Clark
really
eating, I
fun.
love that.
And then, but then, like out of nowhere, like we got Papa Alfred, and that was really fun. I don't know. It's just like I really, not everybody likes their own art, but I think I collaborate with some people that really let me kind of sit back and enjoy the art as a whole that I got to
That
play a
that is
part
not
of.
my I think that's your
Oh
background,
no,
Jeff.
so that wasn't a bird. That was actually one of my neighbors' alarms, their car alarms. Or maybe you're hearing the actual
Oh,
birds that
yeah.
we have dubbed.
This is, some of your bits are so good. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at the meta nature of this, Jeff, because we're going late on this show, and then Logan is in the
Yeah,
chat,
whatever.
and Logan is one of my favorites because if we're talking about things that you sign up to patreon.com/gamefully unemployed, what is it? What does Tom say?
Uh,
Like spelled like it sounds. So it's
G
GAM.
G
Yeah,
A M GAMEFULLY and unemployed, which is
yeah.
spelled like it sounds.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so with that, there's movie nights, which I do love. It's kind of the Jerks made it a good time. It used to be after bedtime for me, which was a great time because it'd be late night, and then now it's like a normal human hour. So it goes from 5 p.m. to usually about 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific, and do your own time
Yeah.
zone conversion. If you listen to the end of that, people, if you see Jeff and if you see Logan, I'll give you a spoiler here. You think the show is over. It's not over. Just letting you know. And so now we're doing like
Yeah.
Dre and Jeff
Yeah.
After Dark on I Must Drake You in front of Logan. I don't know.
Oh, oh wow! Looking in the comments, you guys are really recalling some really
Yeah.
great bits that I've honestly I forgot about Tom Brady as the Riddler.
How dare you come
Um,
between me and your wife? Logan said that's what even popped up is like I can hear that in your voice, like Logan just saying
that
it.
was Tom. That was
That's
Tom.
that's
That was Tom. That is, in my opinion, probably the best off the cuff joke we've had on the show. I will give it to Tom. That is my favorite joke we've ever done, which was We were talking about Jon Stewart cucking Metamorpho and his wife or whatever, and just out of nowhere, Tom just yelled, "How dare you come between me and your wife?" And I think about that line all the time. Like that's a perfect line.
I have this, I always compare Mike Birbiglia, and one thing that irritates me is
Shrewsbury's own.
I'm pretty funny, and my wife thinks I'm pretty funny and routinely calls me funny, and I know I am. In my entire marriage with her, nothing I have done will ever make her laugh as hard as when Mike Birbiglia did Kenny G playing jazz and like his fake saxophone noise.
Oh, when he hopes he's not the Kenny G of
Yeah,
comedy.
that impression cracks her up, and me doing that impression of Mike Birbiglia like gets as big of a pop as some of my best stuff, and I'm just like, yeah. And I mean, it's to be fair, that's like being like, why can't I dunk like Michael Jordan? But it's still just like you're just like, I have said some good stuff, and you're saying the same thing about you saying the same stuff about like Tom.
Oh
You're just
yeah.
like, that's your top, and it's like you've said some bang. Like, do you have stuff that you think compares? Like,
Oh, some of my stuff that
yeah,
I've
it's
come. I
gotta,
mean, like
right?
so, like one of the things I think that works really well with Tom and I, because Dave and Tom are both very focused. Even though Dave likes to get on a trail and kind of walk around a little bit, Tom is really good at pulling him back. Tom, I Tom has learned to let me loose a little bit, and he plays with that. So Tom yes ands me a lot. So a lot of like the long running bits started like I'm pleased that like they kind of started with me and they get enhanced by Tom. So it's very hard for me to say like which ones of mine are actually good because like Save Papa Alfred, I don't know who said that for the first time. I think I did like Clark eating the vaccines or like, but they're much more organic and collaborative. So it's hard for me to remember like a specific line that I've said. I just know I have a lot of fun doing it.
Oliver and I hate the fact because there are different forms of humor, Jeff, right? And you kind of like learn and lean into them. And so Oliver said your
Yeah.
humor shines in every episode. And one thing that makes me sad, Jeff, in a little way, the last episode, one of my favorite moments, and a lot of this was cut. I don't know if you listened to the final product,
Yep.
but I cut like there's this Paw Patrol back and forth between you and I, very very Dave Bell, where I'm like going off. And
You're talking about Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol, like Snake Patrol and whatever.
Did you cut it out? Did you
I
cut out the Paw Patrol?
Yeah, no, I trimmed it. So I left it in, but I cut like, with anything, right? There's like this is funny and there's elongation, but there's parts you can cut. So it's in there. I did cut a little later where I this part I cut a little where I was just like, "Hey Jeff, do you have time to hear me go on a 5 minute tangent about like Snake Patrol, Python Patrol?" And you're just like, "I'm going to kick you in
Oh
the
yeah.
back." But I'm saying when you're kind of talking the back and forth humor and you're talking like Dave and Tom and then you and Tom, I think one thing you note is right. I think Tom has noticed on staying focused, like Dave. Sometimes the humor is in Dave being excited, and the classics,
Corralling
the
Dave,
classic
yeah.
straight man nerd, and so why Dave. Like there's one episode, I think Dave, it was a Christmas episode. He's like, I want to talk about the like said something like, I want to talk about the rules of this Christmas kingdom. I think it was like for Fred Claus, and Tom was just like, nope, moving on. And it's like, that's funny. And with you two, right, that might have turned into you're just like, how did they decide a
that
rule
would
or
have
this?
turned
And then
into an
Tom says this and you keep hitting
that
it
would have
up.
that would
Um,
have turned into an extra 40 minutes if it was Tom and Jeff watch
and
Batman.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But I'm saying there's also the recognizing what, because I was going to say in that episode, took a little editing, sorry to go behind the curtain, but one of my favorite moments of last show, the G.I. Joe Real American Hero with Adam Todd Brown, Dre Alvarez, and Jeff May, um, was that pop where I just randomly go, "Hey Jeff, do you want to hear me talk about like Python Patrol, like Sky Patrol?" And you were like, "I'm gonna kick you in the back," and then we just kept going. And that's the thing is, it's like that was a funny pop, and I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
dynamic that will land, but I found it amusing.
No, it is very good. People saying all the talent that we all have, but golden moment for me was a recent Tom, Adam, and Jeff collab. I don't even remember what. Uh, I don't know which collab that was. What did I do with Tom
What,
and Adam?
Tom, Adam, and
I don't
Jeff?
even remember. Yeah, it says Tom, Adam, and Jeff. So I don't even know what that. Did Tom come on to an episode? I don't know. Could have been Logan too.
Oh yeah, by the
Um,
way,
but
huge
here,
shout outs to WNB Yay, and of course, as I mentioned already, Logan and Jeff After Dark.
oh no, yeah, we have a lot of fun. I think we have a great, yeah. So like now, I love the chat going off on like all the favorite like inner like little inside jokes they have. Like David Bell does with how he refers to creatures in the show as little dildos and experts as blank perverts. Like they're both like everybody's so funny. It's hard for me because like I know I do this for money and I think I'm pretty good, but like the imposter syndrome when you're surrounded by so many brilliant friends is just, you know, there's so much talent and gainfully unemployed and you don't even like this network. And here, you know, and honestly on the Jeff Has Cool Friends network. Um, like I genuinely might have been a Tom and Jeff Watch Batman where we had Adam on. Yeah, I could. Did we do one recently? I don't know.
I don't know how recent.
Either
I did love
way,
when Dave was on, and like my head canon for that was like Tom was telling Dave they were
yes.
gonna go get lunch, and Dave's just like, "Why am I here?" Anyway, I'll talk. I was like,
Yeah, it was the Flash movie episodes, the ones we did with the Flash. Yeah, getting Adam on is great because
"You made
I
Adam
think
watch
people
The
are
Flash." Oh, so mean of you. Anyway,
yes. If you remember the poster that I made, it was really great because Tom and I made us the Flashes, and he was I think Batman in the middle. Adam was Batman. But it's like one of those situations where like Adam loves guesting on podcasts because he doesn't have that much work to do and all the other shows he does are like very work heavy. So like all his other work is very daunting. So he actually is really refreshed when he gets to guest on a podcast, which is like very funny.
well, I mean, it was such it was. I appreciate. I mean, I know it was you, but it was so huge to get him on. Nerd absolutely loved it. Perfect episode for it. Like, and that, like I
Well, I
said, was
think we're yeah, and I think we're actually doing guests all season,
that
if I
is.
recall
Well,
correctly.
I mean, here's the thing. Jeff is so hard. I always feel bad because Jeff is so hardworking, and when it comes to like guests on Nerd, it's just like that adds an extra thing. And like I did the mean thing because Jeff is already overworked, and I was like, well, Jeff, you want to handle the booking, and I don't want to spoil it yet. When it gets closer, we can. But like I was amused on the last one where I was like, if you want to handle the booking, you're like, I got it. And I was like, all right, well, sold. And you got an amazing guest. I'm
Yeah. Well, because it's like, so for like, you know, because I know like when we were doing GI, when we had Adam, and the reason we actually did this is because I'll give you guys a little peek behind the curtain for people about like the headaches and like the minutia of booking shows like this. Dre and I were going to do a season that involved the Purge movie franchise because Adam loves it and he wanted to cover the Purge. And I was like, that sounds fun. But then I realized that we did like 3 or 4 seasons in a row of films. Like it was one of those things where we started to become a movie podcast. And honestly, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think we should back ourselves into the corner of being uh, um, a movie podcast. Like where our thing is about all things nerdy, not just movies. So like screw that. So I told them I was like, we're gonna do the Purge at some point in time, and you're gonna be our guest. But I know you were a big GI Joe freak, so would you be willing to do GI Joe: A Real American Hero? And he's like, yes. And we reverse engineered the season based on. So our entire season is kind of because Adam collected GI Joes when he was a kid.
and
And
that's
then I
and
said, okay, if I can
and I'm
go ahead.
such a huge fan of yours. Like that's the thing is I had 4 or 5 like I knew the G.I. Joe stories, and this gets really funny when you're a content creator and you're like you with the Clawful story, right? You're like, you've heard the Clawful story. I'm gonna throw this though. Any of your fans that are like, I've heard the Clawful story already, Jeff, you don't have to worry about that complaint because they're a fucking fan and they're gonna be back. Like that's the
Yeah.
person that's like, I hate this, see you tomorrow. Like you worked at a
Yeah.
comic book store. You know that person that's just like, I
Oh
hate this
boy, do
place.
I.
You're the worst. And you're like, see you tomorrow. And I know you'll spend money. So yeah, anybody that's ever like, oh, I've heard the Clawful story. It's like you do enough shows and there is enough space in between it that there is not a problem retelling that story for a new viewer. And so that was the thing is like Adam, I knew had 4 or 5 GI Joe stories that maybe if you've been a fan of his for a decade, like I have, you've heard it. Or if you've done a bunch of
Yeah.
podcasts and like you've heard it, but it's like it was nice to collate a bunch of those together, and they were great stuff.
Yeah, so like, it's funny too because when we did that and we're like, all right, well, we're gonna do toy lines that were rebooted, like famously rebooted was what I wanted to do. And so, because I thought that was a really unique season to do. And so we tossed out the different options, and actually my first one that I tossed you was what you were just like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to learn about this, which was Transformers Beast Wars, which I'm fine with because I don't know much about Transformers, but I was like, that's a famous kind of a reboot trying to resuscitate the line. Walker keeps saying we ignored Zartan and the
We had
Dreadnoks in the G.I.
so
Joe
much stuff.
episode.
That was such a. I cannot believe we
But
got through
here's
as
the
much
thing,
as we did on that episode, man. That was Jeff.
Zartan and the
You did an amazing job getting through as much content as you did on that episode, Jeff. We covered way more than I thought we
yeah,
were gonna.
I, I will add though that Zartan and the Dreadnoks were never an official subset of like when you would buy them on the checklist and they would be like, don't forget you get your Zartan and the Dreadnoks thing. They were basically considered to be a part of Cobra, which is why I didn't bring them up. I only brought up the ones that were like specifically labeled as a new subset of the GI Joe Real American Hero line. So I understand that we didn't talk about them. I think I mentioned Zartan a little bit, but it was more like the kind of stuff is like Tiger Force, Ninja Force, Python Patrol, Battle Force 3000, like that kind of really embarrassing stuff. But so when we were looking at the reboots, and it was like, oh, we should do Star Wars Power of the Force from 1995. And then of course we just did the episode with Ken Napzok of Jeff Has Cool Friends. So I was like, well, he'd probably want to talk about that. Like that man he professionally loves Star Wars. And then the other one I think we're going to do is Masters of the Universe 2000X, and then I'm going to try to get David Igo,
That's
who
ridiculous.
is he works for Tweeterhead, and he makes and designs He-Man statues, of which he and I we've worked PowerCon together. So we worked at a He-Man convention together, and he literally is a major architect of a Masters of the Universe product.
That is so cool.
So like, I was like, well, these all fit perfectly for the world that I'm in. And trying to do it where we're not stepping on the toys that made us or Secret Galaxy, but just doing our own thing has been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm still another name because you got all you crazy Boston or Massachusetts, I should say, because I said something. A coworker of mine is from Massachusetts and I think Boston proper. And I said something. I was like, yeah, I got a friend who's from Worcester. I think I almost even said the name right. She's like, that's not Boston. And it's like, yeah, all you folk out in the Northeast are like,
Yeah, they say that. Everybody out there says that because everybody in Massachusetts or New England in general is the crab in the bucket that thinks they're in the big city when nobody realized that there are no big cities in Massachusetts or Maine. Portland, Boston, Providence. None of them are big cities. It's so cute.
love it.
Yeah, Logan, you're right. That Skeletor bust by Tweeterhead, that one-to-one bust is legitimately insane. Yeah, it's so good. It's so heavy and so terrifying. Yes, Worcester.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say that like Pete Holmes had that actually. I know when he was talking about like his podcast, and they're like, what makes yours different?" He's like, "It's because it's gonna be me." And you're not like when you're talking John Jabs, when you're talking Dan at Secret Galaxy, it's like yeah, there are similar things, but it's like, do you have the personality? And I think you do. Like I think, and it does make me laugh. One of these days, I'll get you to watch Better Off Ted. There's so many clips that just pop in my head all the time. But yeah, it makes me laugh about just you be like your self confidence, where you were just like, I don't know if I can do this, and it's just like there's an episode where one of the brilliant scientists, he's got a lie detector machine, and he's like, I'm going to tell it a lie. He's like, I knew it was going to work, and it beeps, and he's like, okay, I was a little worried. And it beeps again. He's like, okay, I was very worried. And it like it beeps again. He's like, okay, I don't know where the magic comes from. I think it's going to leave me, and I worry about that every day, every second of every day. And then it doesn't beep, and he's just like, beep, damn you. And so it's when you're like, I didn't think I could make another joke for Tom and Jeff Watch Batman. I'm like, how would that ever worry you? Like,
Oh, it worries me all the time.
it's hilarious. Sorry, probably shouldn't be
Yeah,
as funny,
no,
but
it's just like, well, it's like you're putting something out there that people are consuming and enjoying, but you don't want to like screw it up.
But
You know, like
I'm just like, of
well,
course you can do that. You do that every show. Of course you'll do it the next show. And you're like, I don't know if I can do it again. I'm like, oh, what?
yeah, I mean, I will always like. Here's the thing: is like if you're putting out art, and like I'm not a perfectionist, but I am like a goodist. If I'm putting out art that I don't think is good, I'm embarrassed of it. So like, you know, there's that. That's all.
I was gonna say, sadly I don't have enough cameras because I was organizing a little over here, not over there, so that's been blank. But this was a lot of fun. I think people stuck around, same as when you and Logan talked.
People,
So
yeah, we're here.
I love
Yeah, we
that.
should have had some. We should have had some. We should have put some cards over there and shuffled them around a little bit.
If I got more, I mean that's the other. You're probably in the same boat, right? Where if you have to have a multi-working space, right, that is supposed to serve multiple functions, like in the ideal world, I could just have like 4 cameras permanently set up in a good
Hmm.
spot. But it's like I have to like same as you, I have to take them down and put them back up and move them, whatever, right? And if I've got other stuff going on, so it's a bummer. But that'd be a fun thing someday. Never know. But Jeff, okay, I kept you way
Yeah.
late. This was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed chatting.
No, this was a lot of fun. So as I said before, everybody, we got a lot of good stuff going on over at patreon.com/Jeff May, including UG Fine with Kim Crawl, including a very special episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends, which drops tomorrow. UG Fine is on Wednesday, along with I Must Break You, Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. On top of that, I've got lots of really great shows coming at you. This is a really good week for that. I'm not looking specifically at it, but I've got more packages I have literally right next to my couch. They're getting mailed tomorrow morning. Once I stop recording, I'm going to finish my Tom and Jeff Watch Batman notes. So we get Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on Wednesday at Gainfully Unemployed. Lots of really great content being put out there. But yes, Oliver, in the comments, you're right. It does matter to me. Like, I don't ever want to sign my name to anything that I think is mediocre or not good enough. So, and I'm going to hold myself to a very high standard because that's what I do.
And that's why the people that watch you love you, Jeff, and respect it. Because like that's the thing is like
And
I will root. It's more last peek behind the curtain before we call out. I'm going back to the intro slides, but like I'll routinely like back and forth have with Jeff, and I've even seen on some of the shows people have back and forth. It's like Jeff, we can cut the quality here, and you're like, damn it, at Jeff Factory we don't cut quality, and I'm like, well, I said my piece, but I'm going to leave this like meeting or whatever respecting you because you kept the intent, and so like. You do it good.
I do what I can. And I think there's lots of very, very talented people making very talented things out there that aren't being seen by a lot of people. But I really do hope that each and every one of you are sort of supporting your independent artists and creators because this is a very, very difficult and strange world to be in. And it's very scary for content creators. And I hate that phrase because that can mean so much stuff. But those of us that, make a living or attempt to make a living doing this are having a harder time making that living. So we definitely appreciate all of your support. And if you are watching, please feel free to, do the subscribe and all that stuff. But for now, I'm sure people, after the break is done, people are going to stop. So it's fine. We love you all so much. Thank you for stopping by.
All right, I'll play the outro song, Jeff.
All right, everyone. See you on Wednesday.
One of these days. I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I'm looking forward to everything this week, man. Just talking over the music, but you can't hear, and it's probably playing. I'm gonna just steal from like pilots, right? I'm just gonna make myself a checklist, and one of them's literally gonna be like literally unplug and replug every connection at the start.